I'm Amy Cherry. This local news is a service of Flagler County's Toyota dealer, Beaver Toyota, here to wow ya. A local official is voicing her opinion about proposed new gun legislation. John Arking has the story.
A House panel recently approved legislation that would allow county commissioners, school board members, and elected city officials to be armed at public meetings. The measure from the House Criminal Justice Subcommittee would only require that those officials have concealed weapons licenses. One local official who does is Palm Coast Mayor Melissa Holland, who tells WNZF that she's not necessarily sold on the legislation.
I think we have a very divisive conversation happening, not only on the national stage, but it has trickled down to our local community. And I believe, again, we can have a civil conversation in these meetings where we don't have to have guns coming into the discussion on one side or the other. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And I think it's would allow for something pretty bad or tragic to possibly happen. So
another gun-related bill approved by the House panel would allow people to carry concealed weapons at religious institutions that share properties with schools. Currently, people can carry concealed weapons at churches, synagogues, and other houses of worship, but not while on school property. The future of the gun legislation remains uncertain. From the WNZF Newsroom, I'm John Arkin.
For years, Palm Coast City Council has met 4 times a month, but that's now changing to 3 as Council decided to eliminate its second workshop every month. City Manager Matt Morton tells WNZF more about the decision.
The premise for eliminating 1 workshop a month was really twofold. We've had a series of long workshops with light agendas, and I did do a summary of those to show the average length is about 82 minutes. And it began to feel, at least from my perspective, that the council's showing up to serve the agenda rather than the agenda serving the council and our community.
Morton says the decision is at council's discretion since workshops aren't required by charter or council rules or procedure. Council's charter requires them to meet at least once a month.
How was the Jobs to Careers program paid for when it was introduced in the state last year?
State Senator Travis Hudson, who represents Flagler St. John's and parts of Volusia County in the state Senate, says the Job Growth Grant Fund helps.
The board approves the projects and the governor gets to approve what the board approves. It allows our local high schools to apply for grants to bring career and technical education capital dollars into their schools.
Hudson said that colleges and universities in Florida can apply for the grants, and high schools should be able to do the same thing. He said that if a school needs, for instance, an HVAC system, they can apply for the grant to fund the system so that students can learn how to put it in and do work on it. To listen to the entire interview, download the Flagler Radio app and then go to the Free for All Friday podcast. From the WNZF Newsroom, I'm Deb Albertson.
Flagler County's emergency management head is elected to his 7th term on the Florida Emergency Preparedness Board. With more, here's Tony Magoo.
At the annual meeting in Daytona last week, Jonathan Lord, who is Flagler County's emergency management director, was chosen for the 7th time to be a board member of the Florida Emergency Preparedness Association. He's also the association's treasurer. It's an honor and privilege to serve Flagler County, said Lord. Collaboration with communities throughout the state helps our emergency management team learn about best practices that we can replicate here in Flagler County. County Administrator Jerry Cameron said Flagler County is very fortunate to have Jonathan Lord as its emergency management director. This appointment speaks volumes about how well he is respected by his peers across the state for the critical work he performs. The Florida Emergency Preparedness Association was created back in 1956 to help professional emergency managers work to protect the people of Florida. FEPA is Florida's premier association of emergency managers. For Flagler's Morning News, I'm Tony Magoo.
And now you're up to date on Flagler's Morning News. I'm Amy Cherry.